Then the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshipped him. Then Jesus came to them and said, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am with you always, to the very end of the age."
Hi everybody, I'm Penny Schultz. So glad you could join us here today for this edition of Go Ye Therefore. Today we have Matt Praschan with us. He went to Zambia recently and he really has some great stories to share about some of the things that God did through his life. I hope you enjoy this time together. We're glad you're with us. Welcome, Matthew.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, it was excellent that you came here today. You recently went to Zambia.
Yep. Yeah.
And who did you go with?
I went with with a team of about 17 people. I had our school soccer coach, and it was a lot of the soccer players and some other people that came. It was a bunch were seniors, I one of our freshmen, and a couple juniors and sophomores with us. So it was a great time.
So it was mostly the group from Cornerstone University?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you're a student there?
Yes. I'm going to be going into my sophomore year this next semester. So.
And what are you studying at Cornerstone?
I'm studying social studies education with a minor in communications. So.
Well, this is excellent that you're here. I imagine it's kind of nice for you being in the studio today.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's a great group of people here.
Yeah.
When you went to Zambia, you found the people to be, how do they seem to be to you?
For one thing, is they were really nice to us. They don't have a lot of opportunity to see a lot of, especially white people. So you can say we're kind of popular. There's a lot of people kept on waving at
Drew
us.
some attention?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. It was like a bunch of people kept on waving at us on a bus ride and stuff like that. So
I'll bet they were glad that you were there.
yes, they were. Yeah.
So what were some of the things you were able to do while you were in that country?
In Zambia, we were able to help build a church. We were helping them build their foundation at the time. We also paid for the resources to help to finish up the church and stuff like that. So it would take about a year for them to build, but we helped them out, make the cement and other stuff. We were also able to go into the village with caregivers to help the people who are sick.
Oh.
And we were also went into the villages to preach our testimony, like words of encouragement towards the people. Mm-hmm. And we were also able to play soccer with some of the local teams.
Oh, well, that was fun.
Yeah, it was. It definitely was.
Is soccer a big sport there?
It is. All over Africa, it's a huge sport. So.
Now, is that the first time you've been to the country of
Yes,
Africa?
it is. It was actually my first time out of the country of the U.S. So.
So incredible. So this
Yeah.
was a memorable trip for you.
It definitely was.
Do you think you'll go back, Matt?
Definitely. Not this year, but most likely the next year after that. So.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of your upbringing, I met you when you were a teenager.
Yeah.
I've known you for many years and your family.
Mm-hmm.
And you're very involved in your church, Auburn Hills Christian Center.
Yep.
So some things happened in your life early on that led you to know that this was something you would be able to do, that God would prepare you for that.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit about that?
Well, for the trip itself, I was called to that more into the beginning of my freshman year at Cornerstone. Actually, during our freshman orientation week, it was the organizer of the trip and also the organizer of the freshman orientation. He introduced to us the problems in countries like Zambia, like the whole malaria issue and stuff like that, and like that. And he mentioned about the trip to Zambia itself, and And ever since he talked about that, I remember going to bed that night, and it was like the one thought in my head was, I want to go, I want to go. It's just this incessant desire to go, and it definitely was a call from God to participate in this trip.
I'm glad you were able to be
Yeah.
a part of that. I know it had a great impact on your life.
Yeah, it has.
The people that you met, did they know Jesus?
Yes, a lot of people did in fact have Jesus. We were working with an organization called Jubilee Center. It's a church mobilization organization led by some of the pastors, and they mobilized the churches all over the country in these separate ministries, like compassion ministries for the HIV and AIDS, helping them out and stuff like that. And they also have a sponsorship program, and it's just a really neat organization to work with, and it was very, very powerful. Very powerful stuff is going on in there.
I was and sad to hear the problems that they have with HIV and AIDS. I know that that's something that's a great concern for the country overall. Can you talk a little bit about how this ministry has helped in some of those areas?
Well, this ministry, the Compassion Ministry, what they do, they have multiple people called caregivers, and they are equipped with medical supplies, gloves, and other assorted materials to help out the medical needs with AIDS and stuff like that. But also to make them comfortable because it is a painful disease.
Yeah.
And we'll try to get resources, medical resources, and food to the people infected with HIV and AIDS. So yeah.
Were you able to pray with them?
Yes, we were.
And bring that hope to them?
Yeah.
Did many of them receive Jesus as their Savior?
In the time that we went with the caregivers, like we didn't exactly ask that question about having Jesus, but we definitely did pray for them.
Good.
And pray for healing or just to stop the disease and other stuff. Yeah.
And I would imagine for them just having someone there who cares and shows that concern and came all that way to express the love of God to them.
Yeah, it was like, I remember it was a very sweet story. It was like we went to the house of this 14-year-old girl who was infected with AIDS for about 3 years, and and one of my teammates, Nick, he gave her a teddy bear, and her face just lit up. It just lit up the room. It was so sweet.
That's beautiful.
And because of that, Nick Fields wants to organize like a teddy bear drive to give to the caregivers to give to the children.
Well, that's good to know. Maybe we can help with that if our viewers, if God tugs at their heart.
I'll definitely talk to you when it's more organized and stuff like that. So yeah.
That sounds really good. It's amazing how we all just want to feel loved and appreciated and affirmed.
Yeah.
And when people like you go and tell them, and pray with them, that's so important that they know they're not alone.
Yeah, exactly.
What were the kids like there?
Oh, they were so sweet. I remember it was just hanging out with a bunch of them, and it was like when you see those movies of the African kids like chasing buses or something like that. That's exactly what happened when we visited this one village called Mapalo. Like all these kids, they were playing soccer and other stuff, and when we arrived, it's like they just swarmed the bus. It was so sweet.
Like they were waiting for you to come.
Yes.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, what's the education like? Are they in school in the regular year, school year?
There is an education system in Zambia. That's how they learn English. Actually, is that most of the people who know English are educated. So there is education. But it's not as organized as it is over here, but it does educate some people. Yeah.
So Matt, you found no language barrier then if they're learning the English language?
There was some language barrier, but we did learn some of the language called Bemba. So I'll give you an example. Like one, to say thank you, it's natotala, and and also how are you is ulishani. You know, so
It's almost like a song.
yeah.
It sounds very beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
So this has stuck with you. You want to learn the language more? Is that something that you are working towards?
I'm definitely interested in it. Yes. Yeah.
It seems to come natural. It seems to come pretty easy to you.
Yeah, especially those words. Those were the basic words that we learned. So so it was a lot of fun just just talking to them. Is and for them to respond back as well. So.
Oh, that's nice. I like that. Yeah. And it let them know that you cared enough to be able just to communicate in some way with them. How long were you there?
We were there for about 5 to 10 days. So.
And was the trip was it a long trip from here to that country?
Yes, it was. It was about 60 hours of flight there and back. So it was like 30 to go there, because we flew from Chicago to London to Zambia, including a 10-hour layover in London.
Oh my!
So it was a lot of traveling. So fortunately we were able to relax a little bit in London. It was like during the 10-hour layover, but it was like most of us were like, we just want to get to Zambia.
Yes, yeah. You were on mission. You wanted to be where you needed to go.
Yeah.
Now, will this group that you went with, will they plan a return trip together?
Some people definitely. Some other people I'm not sure, because they graduated this year, so I'm not sure if they'll be coming back at all. So.
Okay.
So yeah.
Now, if you were to tell our viewers, if God's just tugging at their heartstrings like He did with you when that professor spoke about that, when you were a freshman, about going to Zambia, what would you want to tell our viewers to do?
Well, for one thing, is just pray about it. Pray is like, if God is calling you to go to Zambia or any other country in the world, or just to donate money to sponsor a child. It's like organizations like Jubilee Center. They have these sponsorship programs to help sponsor a child. That is one of the easiest ways to help people out. It is about, it's like $23 a month about, and this gives them education. This gives them food and other resources to have a better life while they're living in this poverty.
And Matthew, you have seen the sponsorships in action.
Yes.
So it's not like the money's just going somewhere that it's not being used towards the kids. You've actually seen where the money is able to get these kids, these sponsorships, is able to get these kids food and clothing and education.
Yes, exactly. It's like, in fact, our leaders on the team actually sponsored a child in Zambia, and they actually were able to meet her. It was like they sent letters there and back and forth. So
you
really
got
neat.
to meet her while you were in the country.
Yes, we were. Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I sponsor a little girl from Haiti. I went in the mission field, and it was amazing. And when you come back, your heart still wants to do more. So I sponsor a little girl that's 5. She starts kindergarten this year. So I'm pretty excited about that. You know, a lot of people might have reservations about helping. So one of the most important things we want to make sure is that the company or the community that's working with the sponsorships is reputable, associated with the church, that you can get some references and find out how those funds are being used, that they are actually going to the kids. So
so Jubilee Center does have a website. I don't remember the website itself, but you could easily Google it. It's like Jubilee Center Zambia and Google, and it would just be the first couple websites there. So
we'll get that information from you, and we'll add it at the bottom of our programming so that the viewers can see that too. Now, your parents were very supportive of you going. I always found that interesting. Can you talk a little bit about their support and your upbringing?
So it was definitely a journey since I was called to go on this trip to getting getting enough money and support to go on the trip. Like my parents were a little reserved at first, like, are you sure you want to do this, because it's a lot of money and stuff like that. It's like, are you sure you want to do this? But eventually, as they saw the support growing, and it's like they saw that this is what God wanted me to do, and they just fully supported me. They pray for me constantly to get enough money, and they actually helped out themselves. So
that's beautiful. Did you have any special shots or prepare in any way health-wise?
Yes, we had to get multiple shots. We had to get like a typhoid shot, Hep A shot. Hep A was probably the I could say the most painful, because they had to have like a full CC. So
a lot of medicine.
Yeah, a lot.
Oh my goodness. Now you talked about malaria. What were some of the risks associated with being in a country where there is a lot of malaria problems?
The risk, like with malaria, so there's specific mosquitoes that go out at night, and with the malaria parasite, and they do bite people, so it can be dangerous if you don't prepare yourself. But we did have malaria pills that we took during the week when we were there, and we were also provided with bed nets in other places as well.
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Did you have to have a passport to go?
Yes. That was an interesting process as well.
Okay, so start early on that?
Yeah, definitely.
So generally that's going to be about a 6 weeks preparation for that.
Yeah, and it's like the department, they always say is like try to get your passport at least 3 months before the trip itself.
So when you said that you were going on this trip with people from Cornerstone, did they sponsor the trip for you in some regards?
Like, what do you mean?
Well, did they help fund it? Did they help you organize it? Or did you go through?
They did help. It's like they didn't help as far as like money-wise, but they did help us prepare and write. They helped us with a template for our support letter to send out to other people. So, and they also provided letters and mailing supplies and other stuff
to help you get to where you need, administratively get where you need to go.
Yeah.
If you were going to talk about some of the greatest needs that you see that the people of Zambia have, what might be some of those that you would consider?
The greatest needs would be food and medicine. It's like especially for food, medicine, and bed nets, because the first thing that countries like Zambia have to deal with is first of all bed nets to get rid of malaria. That way, the government can focus on other diseases like HIV and AIDS, which is very damaging to the country itself. So it's like both. So it was like food and medicine for HIV, because people need to have food with the medicine, or else it kills them. So.
Okay. Do a lot of them struggle with having enough to eat, being malnourished, the effects of that?
There are some effects of that, yes. Especially in more of the rural communities. Closer to the cities, they do have some. Again, we do have Jubilee Center, who does provide food and shelter for these kids, and with the churches in Zambia.
So that's why you go.
Yeah.
You want to be able to assist those churches that are there. You talked a little bit about, well, we were just conversing before the program began, but you talked about how the stronger first world countries like us, America, and some of the other countries go and help those who don't have that. Can you build on that?
Well, the missions work is especially to the third world countries like Zambia and other countries in the continent of Africa. It's less about preaching the gospel, because in the third world, the churches that the first world countries have established over the years, they're growing in God and in power with the Spirit. It's that they don't really I wouldn't say need our help as far as like preaching the gospel. It's like they're spreading the gospel wide open in those areas. They more need our resources that we have over here in the first world countries. So we just need to help our brothers and sisters over in Zambia and the rest of Africa to help build those, to break down those barriers that people have against Christianity and other stuff, and accept the gospel and God.
Kind of like what Paul did in the New Testament.
Yeah.
Went back and encouraged and made sure they were all doing okay. Those little churches were growing.
Yeah.
Is their church growing?
Yes, it definitely is, especially with Jubilee Center. They help empower all the churches in Zambia, and they provide the resources and the needs to help them grow in the Spirit.
That's beautiful. You talked a little bit about the church, and so I just wonder, I'm kind of curious, what was their worship service like?
It was really powerful. It was one of the churches we visited. It was just song, and there was no instruments at all. And the lyrics were simple but beautiful. It was so it may not have been like the more like complicated songs that we're used to, but it was like their worship is just phenomenal. It's very, very powerful.
Sweet. Yeah, and simple.
Yeah.
I think that's the way that God intended it. Sometimes we do complicate it when we've got all these instruments, and just because we can doesn't mean we should.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's beautiful. I'm glad you were able to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Do you still communicate with some of the people that you met there?
Some of them, yes. Some of the lead pastors who are part of Jubilee Center, some of them do have Facebook, so we do connect with them a little bit. But other than that, it's kind of hard. It's like we try with emails and stuff like that, but those letters can be hard sometimes. So
it's nice that the website and emails and those kind of things connect us still, even though they're 60 hours or 30 hours away by plane. So is there anything else that you'd like to add that we haven't already covered?
Like the experience that I had in Zambia, it definitely opened my eyes. Especially is like how we look at the African countries. That it's like, yes, they are in poverty, and yes, they do need some of our help, but like they're not helpless. It's like the countries in Africa is like they some countries are well off. It's like some countries are industrialized. They do use the resources that they have, and they do have help from other countries as well. That is like they're not so helpless that we as Americans usually see them. That it's like they grow with God every single day, and like their spirit is so pure and humble. It is phenomenal to just see that.
That's beautiful. That's good to know. If you didn't go there, you wouldn't know that. And I'm glad that you're sharing that with us. We need to be mindful of that. You know, that sometimes when we are in America, we look at all we have, that those who don't, we think that they don't have enough, but they do. Yeah. It sounds like because they have Jesus, because they have the love of Christ, and they're working together. That's beautiful, Matthew. I am so glad you came in today.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm really pleased that you were able to share what's going on. And I'm going to invite you back if you go to Zambia again. I want to be able to see how God is building on that.
Yeah, definitely.
So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
I hope you've enjoyed this edition of Go Ye Therefore. If God is tugging at your heart and you want to learn more about this ministry, look at the websites and then make a decision for yourself. We're glad that you're here today. God bless you. Bye.
You said that I could come.